My name is Ruzanna Hernandez, and this is my 6th year as a public school administrator, and I wanted to give you some advice, let you know about what the advantages and disadvantages are of being in the admin world if you're trying to step up into it. So let me just start off by telling you that this is my creative outlet. So what I do is write books, and I have a website that's called Efficiency and Organization. And I have this YouTube channel where I share information on how everybody could live their lives, their personal and their professional lives, in a much more efficient, better, productive way to be able to get a lot done. So I strongly suggest, if this stuff sounds good to you, to subscribe, because once a week I do release a new video. And that way you could be notified by hitting that little bell that's there when a new video comes out that you can watch. So most people go into admin towards the end of their career. From what I've heard from people, a lot of times they want to do that because they just figure the higher salary would mean when they're going to retire, they could get the higher pension. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody has a different reason for going into admin. For me personally, I was a math teacher. I was a high school math teacher. The reason I wanted to go into it is because I saw that there were things I could do at like the school level that'll really give me that challenge. And I liked that. You know, I didn't want to be stagnant in my job as a teacher. I didn't want to feel like it wasn't challenging anymore. And I'm going to be honest with you, because we all should be honest. I did think that the higher salary would help me in my lifestyle with my kids and my husband. I knew going in that it was going to be more hours, but I just felt like it was more suited for me and my personality, because that's just how I am. Every 4 or 5 years, I have a tendency to want to take on another challenge and another challenge kind of a thing, you know? And so I said, okay, I'm going to go into it. So how do you go into admin? You could go in as a coordinator. You could go in as most of the time as an assistant principal, and then just kind of work your way up from there. What I love about it, like the big advantages that I see, that you can actually do like things that you want to do for the school site and for the district at a bigger level. So like if you have ideas, you're like, you know what? I feel like I do have these ideas that can help improve instruction, improve discipline. Then yeah, the admin world is really for you. If you're a creative thinker, it's a great place to be. You can help teachers. That's one of the best parts for me. Like as an admin, I have a little more control, if you will, on how we spend the money, the school's money, the money that's allocated to us. And when teachers ask for things, I love to be able to help make sure that we're allocating the funds for that. You get to know more students. I love that. See, as a teacher, a classroom teacher, I knew my students, and like, let's say the students that I had the previous year and stuff. But as admin, you get to really get a good picture of the entire student body, and you get to form some more relationships with the kids like that you may not have ever had in your class. And of course, you do get paid a little more because the responsibility is more and because you work more hours. I mean, it's not supposed to be that you work more hours, but you do. You work more days a year. So let's talk about the disadvantages. The biggest thing is when I went into admin, and I told you, right? Like I kind of was like, you know, I feel like I could take this idea and implement it school-wide. I had this tutoring idea that I wanted to try and stuff. But I found that at a school site level, a lot of it, especially as an assistant principal, is dealing with the discipline. And so that's one of the things that I'm not particularly sure that I like about the job. You know, it's like some disciplinary matters would take like 4 or 5 hours to deal with. And so that's like as a principal and as an assistant principal sometimes. So I think just making sure going into it that you're open to that, that you're okay with that is a big deal. Parents. So dealing with the parents is just part of the job. But you know what? If you worked with the parents of your students as a teacher, it's not going to be any different dealing with them as an administrator. So 9 out of 10 parents, from my experience after all these years, 9 out of 10 parents are awesome. But you do get 1 out of 10 who feel entitled, who think that it's okay to yell at you, who think that it's okay to tell you that you're lazy or dumb just because, they're deflecting. They have a lot of problems in their lives. And then, it's just coming out that way, whether they mean it or not, it comes out that way. So that is one of the disadvantages of the job that you need to be aware of. A disadvantage is, of course, the hours, the longer hours. So I'm supposed to work an 8-hour day, but that's like hardly ever the case. It's usually 9, 10, 11 hours a day, because here's the thing. If you want to do the bare minimum in your job, you could, and you could go home after 8 hours. But see, the reason I went into it was because I was a change agent. I wanted to be creative and take ideas and that I could put in place, right? And so if that's the case, then I'm like adding more work to myself, but that's who I am at the core. So if that resonates with you, if that's the kind of person that you are, well, then you're going to have the same thing. Just be ready and open to that it is going to be long hours. Sometimes, you have the evening performances. Sometimes you have, like at the high school level where I'm at, you have the games, like the football games, basketball games. Sometimes there's field trips, dances. And so you do have to be open to going to those. And see, like if you're just barely getting into it, you might say, oh, it's fine, but like being in it after a while is really tiring. But just know and accept that that's part of the job. There's a lot of pressure. If you felt pressure as a teacher, or if you're feeling pressure to improve your test scores, to get your students to perform better on tests so that their grades can go up, it's a lot more pressure as an administrator, because here's why. You're the leaders of the school. So you're the one who's supposed to put structures and programs in place to make positive things happen, to bring about positive change. And when it's not working, the pressure is on you. Some of it is pressure that's brought on by yourself. Some of it's pressure that's brought on by the community, by the people above you. So that's something you need to know going in. How do you manage that? That's stress management. And that's something I've struggled with tremendously as an administrator. And then lastly, here's the thing I can tell you. Sometimes it's really difficult to get people to change their ways and do what you want them to do. I'll give you a really good example. When you're a classroom teacher, what's the biggest stress that you have? You want the students to succeed. So when they don't turn in their work, when they're not focused in class, when they're apathetic, it bothers you, right? Because you want them all to do well. Every teacher wants their kids to do well. Well, that's kind of the thing in the admin world. Like you could bring about the smallest change and you could say, we should do things this way, we should do things that way. It's really the persuasion that has to play a role. Are people going to do it? The teachers especially, and the support staff. Are they going to do it because they have buy-in, or are they going to do it because you're making them do it? That's a really, really difficult part of an administrator's job. So after all these years, what advice can I give if you do want to go in the admin world? What can I tell you to work on or to have prepared to succeed? I think number one is communication skills. The communication skills involves active listening. It involves being able to persuade others. It involves being able to effectively say something where you're saying it in a way where you're coming off as a strong person, but not offending people in the process. So communication skills are very important. And that's one big thing that I would stress. If there's an area that you want to work on, it would probably be that. Organizing skills are top, very critical. Being able to create systems. So like if you have a program in mind, an idea in mind, how do you do it? How do you implement it in a systematic way? Like who's involved? When are they going to do the things that they need to do? So having the organizing skills to set up systems is very important. Of course, some of the other things that go with organizing skills involve meetings, how well you put meetings together, your timing, like are you going on and on at the meetings and like dragging on, or is the meeting well timed where you start and stop on time? Responding to emails is big, and just how you use your minutes during the day is big. And so the good thing is, because you're on the Efficiency and Organization YouTube channel, this is the stuff I talk about like all the time on my website and on this YouTube channel. So it's a good idea to subscribe, because that way every week when I release new videos, no matter what area my focus is that week, if it's like small business or if it's in personal life or finances and stuff, you'll still get something out of it. So make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell too. And then the other thing is knowing and understanding instruction. Because what's like the number one thing? Well, there's two things right now that I think are extremely important in schools: instruction, improving instruction, and the social emotional learning, right? Like basically a lot of our kids are going through a lot right now. So being able to like focus on those two areas is going to be super important. But knowing the instruction is critical. So if a lot of your knowledge in instruction is in elementary, well, that's probably the path you want to pursue, because that's probably where you can make the biggest difference. If a lot of it is in adult education, and then that's the path you want to pursue. If a lot of it is in high school, then that's the path you want to pursue. But being able to understand pedagogy, how kids learn, how adults learn if you're in the adult ed realm, well, then that's what's going to help you to really do a good job as an administrator. Because here's the thing, you're most likely going to start here. Do you want to stay there or do you want to move up? What's going to help you move up? What's going to help you move up is that communication skills that I was just talking about, how organized and productive you are, because guess what? You don't respond to emails on time. You don't keep your promises to people because you lost track and got distracted. Your reputation's going to go down. And also it's knowing instructions well enough and SEL well enough to be able to make positive changes in your school that'll help you stand out, so that when you are ready for the next step up, you'll be able to get that done. You'll have stuff that you would have done to make a positive change in the organization, and that will help you look good on a resume to go and do that at even another level or another school site. All right, so you may agree, not agree with some of what I'm saying, but you know what? I stand behind what I'm saying. This is what I know. This is what I've learned in 6 years being an admin and before that being a teacher. So I hope you learned some things in this video. On efficiencyandorganization.com, I do have a section that's for educators, and I have another section that's for leadership. So you can go and check out what articles I have posted that could help you there. All right, so thank you for being with me, and I will catch you in the next video.